You're listening to STAGR Cast, brought to you by STAGR Gear. Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of STAGR Cast. This will be episode number 5, I believe. And this episode is going to be a little bit different than what we've done the past few weeks. There's going to be no guest tonight. It's just going to be Izaak and I talking. We're going to shoot the breeze, tell some stories, talk some gear, and just kind of do a little bit of housekeeping on what we've done up to this point and what we got coming for you in the future, because we got a lot of good stuff coming in the following weeks, a lot of great guests coming that you're really going to like. But tonight's just going to be us talking, keeping it fun, keeping it light. It's not going to be a super long podcast compared to the other ones, but we're just going to bring it to you. So I think we'll just dive right in here, Izaak, if that's good with you. I see you got a beer going.
Yes, sir. It's Friday.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. How about we kick it off? We'll just start talking about some gear. I see, on your Stagger clips that you've been posting on your YouTube channel, you've had some comments, people asking to do a gear episode, talk a little bit about kind of what we carry in the woods, and what we got going on with Stagger. And I've been getting a lot of questions on Stagger's Instagram page to do a little segment and kind of tease on what we've got coming and the plans with that for this year. So if you want to dive right in there.
You want to talk about some gear?
Yeah, sounds good. So to kind of give a little bit of a backstory on what STAGR Gear is and kind of the idea behind the whole company, it's a company we started back in August of this past year, and it kind of arose from what we perceived as a gap in the market for gear when it comes to hunting and tracking in the Northeast. I mean, obviously there's companies that represent the Northeast. We all know them, but I feel like they kind of lacked behind or kind of haven't really encompassed the identity behind, hunters in the Northeast, and haven't really met the growing demand for more innovative products that, help people out in the woods. So that's kind of how it got started, and we've kind of been going from there. So, it all started with drawing up some designs, and we got a good group of guys to get ideas from, kind of bounce ideas off, do a lot of testing, and to get their thoughts on what they believe hunters and trackers should have up in this region. So from there, we've been working, we've been putting together, getting the designs mastered, and we're at the point now where we have all our designs down. Everything is in full-blown manufacturing, and we'll be bringing this stuff to you soon. So if you see the STAGR Gear Instagram post from this week, we just announced that we have the Green Growth line of gloves. That's like the formal announcement, and kind of release the details on them, the design behind them, the idea, and that stuff. So if you haven't seen that, go to the STAGR Gear Instagram page, and you kind of get a look in at the 3 glove designs that we're offering. They're called the Green Growth line. So with those gloves, like you see, we've got some really good grip added to them. We got a really good high-quality wool material that those are made out of, 100% wool. They're really good fitting gloves. You get the new designs like the carbine glove where you get the cut pointer and thumb. I mean, obviously you've seen gloves that probably have a cut pointer and thumb before, but it's the way we built them around, the wool exterior glove and the liner that's inside of them. So they're built, specifically to help you get more shots off, help you to be quicker, free up your fingers if you're looking at GPS or need to get a safety off quick or get a shot off quick. That's kind of what those ones are designed for. And then we have like the fingerless ones, good construction on those, high quality wool, fitted right and with a grip, obviously. And then you have the full fingered ones that are, a classic wool glove, but, upgraded and updated to meet the demands and the wants that people have up here. But to kind of give a little bit of teaser of what else we have coming, we're going to announce, the formal details of stuff in the coming weeks like we did with the gloves. We'll talk more about what we got coming in the details. But to kind of give a little bit of a tease, we do have a jacket coming that is super high quality build, innovative design, a lot of new little pocket tweaks and design tweaks to really get you, a more functional jacket, something that's more evolved and is unique that'll help you out in the woods. Beyond the jacket, we've got some capes coming. There's been a lot of demand in recent years for just the classic orange cape and one that's not super, doesn't cost an arm and a leg for one, and it gets the job done. We've got a backpack design coming. I can't talk too much about that. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to drop. That might be later after the launch date. We've also got a few different hat designs and a couple other things as well. But like I said, stay tuned on the social pages and YouTube, and we'll kind of drop more information on that, more details on that stuff as we go forward. But we're working diligently trying to get those things, get them all made and get them to you as fast as we can. But as of right now, it's looking like the tentative launch date will be for the first or the second week of August. That's when we'll have everything starting to get shipped out to you guys, and kind of have it available to everybody in the public. So off of that, we are also going to be at Huntstock. That's going to line up just about perfectly with our tentative launch date right now. I think that's the August the 11th, 12th, and the 13th. So if you're going to Huntstock, you can check us out there. You can get your hands on some gear there, check it all out, feel it, and all that stuff. But we'll see you there if you're going. But kind of ahead of that, we're going to be opening up pre-orders pretty soon on some of the products. So as we release them, we're going to open up pre-orders. You can get all this stuff at a discounted price. We're going to offer it at for pre-orders. So it's a good opportunity to get this new gear at a discounted price, because when we go live with it, the prices will go up a little bit. So if you want to get some good deals, be checking out for pre-orders. We'll let everybody know on social, and if you're on the email list, you'll also get some discount codes and an earlier notification on the pre-orders and stuff for that. But like I said, with STAGR Gear, we're building stuff for the Northeast, for hunters in the Northeast. We're trying to bring identity to the Northeast and giving it a fresh new look and some better options for people up here. So we're happy to be doing it. And if you guys have any ideas or any questions about the stuff we have coming out, please do not hesitate to reach out to us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, because we want to make the stuff for you. We want to make it catered to you. So let us know if you have any ideas, things you'd like to see, questions, and all that stuff. So, to kind of keep it rolling here, what are you running? You're running a green and black jacket, is it?
No, red and black.
Oh yeah,
as
yeah,
of
you
late,
are
the
red
last
black.
2 years.
Is that Johnson jacket?
Yep, it's a Johnson jacket, and I think it's Big Bill is the name of the pants.
Yeah, that's what I run for the pants too. They're like $100.
I blew them out in 2 years though.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I
mine are
mean,
getting thin.
I kind of you get what you pay for, I guess. But the Johnson pants they're a lot of money. So
We'll have to get you into a green and black check this year.
that'll be sweet. That will be sweet.
Yeah. Anyways, kind of let's dive into more gear stuff. With camera stuff, you carry a bigger pack, don't you, to haul all this stuff around?
When I'm like doing camera stuff, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll wear the cameras around me like a fanny pack almost. Like I'll have I can do like 5 of them across my back and use the strap.
So you got all your camera gears on a belt?
So no, like you take each individual camera strap and you cinch it around your waist.
No shit.
Yeah, so I hate backpacks. I'll do a backpack in the middle of the summer, I guess. Like that's how I've been doing my cameras as of recently, and it's kind of a cool little trick because you can just cinch them up, around your waist and go do your thing. But yeah, what do you wear under your wool pants? That's kind of
I try to keep it thin. If I don't go thin, I'm sweating my ass off for the whole day. So pretty much I just run I think it's just a wool merino base layer for pants, and then I just got it's a wool, I think it's a wool cotton blend, which some people will go off about it being cotton, but it works for me. It's actually, I think it's this shirt right here, the one I'm wearing.
Oh,
it's like red
kidding.
woolish cotton. I wear it all the time, but I wear it during deer season, and I hate sweating and being in hot supper the whole time you're tracking the deer. So I go light as could be. What about you? Do you ever? The only time I ever do more than that is if it's like nasty cold or like nasty windy, and I'll throw like a flannel over it or like a thin quarter zip, like something like what I got on here.
Yep.
Yeah. Do the same thing.
So under my pants, I wear like an Under Armour material. That's the only way I can describe it.
Like the cool fiber,
leggings, I guess.
Okay.
That's what I wear on my legs.
Yeah.
And then on my upper body, I wear a long john. Yep. I wear a long sleeve long john in my wool, and that's it.
Even if it's freezing
out?
out?
I don't care if it's 10 below zero or 35. I wear that. But if I'm going to be sitting, which I hate to do.
Sitting's a different ballgame.
But if I am going to be sitting,
if I'm
going to be sitting, I bring clothes. I bring extra socks. I bring sweatshirts.
Oh, no doubt.
Layers. Because If you're gonna try to sit all day, or like some serious still hunting where you're like standing by a tree for like 2 hours and then walking 100 feet type deal. If you're cold,
Yeah.
you're just not gonna do it.
Yeah, if
So
I
you
sit,
gotta be.
I got like this Sherpa, like almost like polar fleece Sherpa thick jacket that I put over my long johns and like a sweatshirt, and then I have an oversized wool jacket that I'll put over. I'm walking around like a marshmallow, but there's nothing worse than being freezing when you're trying to sit. That's the worst. So
Oh, I've been there.
as far as the legs go, I don't really ever layer up the legs, even though I'm sitting. And I guess maybe I'll wear a
Yep.
pair of sweatpants under it instead of just the long johns like when I'm tracking. But yeah, the worst thing when you're tracking is being hot and sweaty, and then, ugh,
Yeah. Oh, I've been there. I'm sure you have too. You
yeah,
get a day where it's like 20s in the morning and then warms up to like 40 something, and you're like really putting the miles away, and then all of a sudden
yeah,
you feel like how sweaty you are,
nasty.
and it's
Ugh,
yeah,
feel
it
thinking
sucks,
about it
but
right now.
it's part of it.
Do you bring your big camera with you that you do a lot of your filming on and GoPros, or what do you usually bring with you as far as camera goes?
No, so when I'm by myself, I just bring a GoPro.
Just a GoPro.
Just a
You're not hauling
GoPro
a
and
big one around.
batteries.
Makes sense. It is hard
Yeah.
to lug one of those big cameras down.
So I'll have 4 GoPro batteries in my front pocket of my woolly,
Hmm.
and then the GoPro on my head. So it's like very minimal stuff. It's like you don't even realize the things on your head after a
I was
while.
gonna say, do you keep that there all day long? That
All day,
never coming
yeah.
off. Yeah.
Never comes off.
And you got that like bucketish type hat, don't you? That's what you wear
Yeah,
for the
I
most
wear
part.
that. It's a Crusher hat is what it's called. That's the name of the brand.
Yeah, I see a lot of guys use. It seems like it's not around as much as it used to be, but
Right. I know
yeah,
that's why I like it.
yeah, no, it looks cool. We got to do something with that with Stagger maybe next year or
Yeah, you
something.
should because a lot of people think it's cool.
You get a lot
Like
of comments on that.
I get more comments about my hat on YouTube than anything else.
What? Just people asking what it is.
Where they can get
Oh
one,
shit!
where did I buy it? Like they just love the wool bucket hat.
Is it old? Is it like a super old hat, or did you buy it like when you
No, you
started?
can buy them now, like in a lot of places. There's 2 local places to me where you can buy them. You can buy them at H&N Williams down in Dorset, Vermont,
Yeah.
and then you can buy them at Marty's Sporting Goods over in Polteny.
Hmm.
Right? At least you used to be
I
able
think I
to.
reported Turkey over there. Is that like the little sports gun store over that? Yeah, I think I reported Turkey there once. Pretty
Yep.
cool
Yeah,
spot.
that's right. That's where I got it was Marty's. That's where I got all my wool that I'm wearing right now. Is
Oh,
Marty's.
really?
Yeah, he carries good selection of stuff. That would be a good store for you to get into.
Yeah, I'll have to
The
look into that.
Stagger.
There's a lot of people a lot of people buy it from him down that way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a pretty popular store for down this way.
Yeah. Are
Yeah.
you what else are you lugging around in the woods with you? Are you a compass, GPS, water bottle, all that type of stuff? What do you
I
typically bring
used
with you when you're
I
going?
used to I used to have like a fanny pack that would go on my back,
Hmm.
and I would carry a water, you know, matches,
Yeah,
like
the whole nine.
usually a sandwich every day, and it had some stuff in it, not much, but some stuff.
Yeah.
But now I'm just putting compass, front pocket of my woolies,
Yep.
batteries to my GoPro in the other front pocket,
Hmm.
and my phone in my phone wallet.
Yep.
That's it. No pack, nothing, just
Light as you can possibly be.
minimal. Yeah, and I think a lot of times, I guess it depends on the situation, but if I'm going strictly tracking, I just want to not have anything on my body,
Yep.
especially for going through like tight
Hmm.
brush. But I've never had a wool pack, so that might change my mind. I've always kind of had the cheap. I don't know what the material is.
What a lot of them are.
Is
Yeah,
it
I know what you're talking
neoprene?
about.
Does that sound right? Or is that not even close?
And I think neoprene's the more waterproof stuff. I know what you're talking about. It's got that. Yeah, a lot of the stuff's made like
You go
that.
through. I remember I actually figured it out in Maine. I was up there and I was on a buck and getting through some thick spruces, and it just was like the
Was it thwacking?
loudest thing you can imagine. Just like,
Yeah.
but What about you? Do you run a pack or do you go light or?
Sometimes I run a pack. Like you though, I've just got one of those, cheaper ones with that same material. It's a super thin pack though, so like I can put it underneath my jacket if I do bring it. I'd say it's 50% of the time I bring it and then I don't. Um, if I think I'm gonna be if I'm going way out, way back, I'll bring it, and most of the time all it's in is like a couple extra packs of like peanut butter crackers or like 2 packs of peanut butter crackers. That's all I bring for food in the woods. I know a lot of guys like sandwiches and stuff, but I'll throw that, and then I have a lighter I bring with me, and really that's about it. And then, I mean, I'm not a GPS guy. I think a lot of people now kind of transition from GPS to on X on the phone, and then maybe bring like a battery pack or something with them, like a tiny one, just to in case their phone dies.
Yep.
But is that kind of what have you ever been a GPS guy?
Nope, I never had a GPS. So before, like probably 2018, which really was not that long ago, I just went compass.
Yeah.
Like I could,
Okay, so you learned on the compass.
yeah, but I could pull up my phone and hit like the navigation button, and I could like zoom out and like see the satellite imagery of where I was, kind of
Yeah.
like Onyx,
Hmm.
but no property lines or topography or anything like that. But I had been doing that for a long time.
Hmm.
Just use,
Google Earth type
yeah,
stuff.
just using like Google Earth type stuff, just satellite imagery to, and using my phone to see where I was and where I was pointing or whatnot. But
Yeah.
I never had like a nice GPS.
Hmm. I had one shitty GPS for 1 year back. Oh, it must have been a good 10 years ago now. I had it for a year, and I was like, I don't really use this thing, so I just stopped bringing it. I know a lot of guys love the GPSs and stuff, but I don't know. I just use OnX and like you said, just maps, and you can usually figure out where you're at from there. I feel like I got a pretty good sense of direction when it comes to being in the woods, which I think is a big part of if you're going to be a tracker and hunting in the big woods. You kind of have to have that and not rely on maps as much or GPS and all that stuff. You can't be scared of it. But yeah, I don't do GPS. I know a lot of guys do, and I've got just a small compass. I don't bring a great big one, but use it when I need to, type of deal.
Yeah, what you just said there is huge. You cannot be afraid of the woods. And
No.
I think that's what holds a lot of guys back just from things that I've noticed, but
Hmm.
I don't think a lot of guys talk about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
They're afraid of the woods, kind of a pride thing. They don't admit it, but
Yep.
you truly you need to be comfortable in the woods. You need to be
Hmm.
comfortable on the other side of that mountain, way down in a swamp with no cell
Hmm.
service. You need to be comfortable because if you give yourself, boundaries, like just for example, like places with no cell service. I've noticed
Hmm.
in this area, if an area has no cell service, usually pretty good hunting because a lot of guys don't even mess around with it.
Yeah.
And it's like
Hmm.
just simple little things like that. Like people just can't go without their phone.
It's like you said, the boundaries thing. Like if you're setting yourself in boundaries
Yep, you're gonna
when you're out there, it's
you're gonna
gonna like
fail as a tracker. You need to be
you just gotta be.
able to
Go
go
ahead.
in the woods, shut off your mind, and just go and go get on it.
Hmm.
If you get on a big track, just go.
Don't worry about where it's going.
Don't worry
Essentially.
about where it's going, where you've been, how much you ate
Hmm.
that morning, what you're doing after,
Yep.
what's going on at work. Nothing. You just need to zero in on the buck track
Hmm.
and follow it, and that's it.
Wherever it takes you.
It's a really simple
It
way to
is.
hunt. I feel like it is for me. Like it's just so black and white. It's like
Hmm.
follow deer,
Go make it happen.
go make it happen.
Don't worry about
Yeah,
anything
that's it.
else.
That's it.
I,
Yeah.
I guess I've never like most people that I hunt with and stuff. They all seem like they have a pretty good sense of direction. So I guess I've never really tapped into the mind of somebody that maybe is apprehensive, or maybe just people just don't talk about it when it comes to big woods hunting. But I'd be curious to talk to somebody on that, like what it is
And
that.
I've never had anybody openly say it to me either, but
Yeah.
it has to be the case because, like, just for an example, when you go to Maine, 90% of the time, you get a mile. Let me rephrase. You get 100 yards off the road, you cut down on a lot of boot tracks.
Hmm.
You get a half mile off the road, you pretty much don't find any boot tracks. So there's something to that. It's like, okay, the farther I get away from the road, the less people I run into, the less pressure, the more deer.
Boundaries.
So boundaries. So people kind of like set these parameters, I'm assuming, because, I know there's a lot of guys out there like you and I who just will go. But I think the majority of people don't.
Yeah, it's like I'll go 500 yards in the woods there, see what's going on, and then if it's nothing, then I'll head back to the truck type of deal. Which I know a lot of people. There's probably a lot of people that do that. I feel like in Maine, though, from my experience where I hunt in Maine, like you're never. I feel like you're least like. I don't know if this is a good way to phrase it. You're like almost least likely to get lost up in that big logging country because you're always within a mile or two of a decent skid trail that'll take you out to a main drag, don't get me wrong, obviously it's big woods up there, but I feel like you can always, you can go in a direction and get yourself out if you're scared. You're never that far from some sort of a trail, essentially.
I know, and I'm probably going to make a lot of people mad right now with what I'm going to say, but all the areas of Maine that I've hunted, the woods have been smaller than some of the pieces of woods that I can hunt here in Vermont.
I agree.
Which was totally backwards to what I thought when I was younger. I thought Maine, the North Woods, had the biggest woods. Now, it's almost like it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like big woods suburbs.
I agree. It's like it's a big geographic spread as far as area goes, but how it breaks down,
everywhere.
If you break it down by road systems and access and stuff like that, there's way more access up there as far as getting into the big woods compared to like if you're hunting here in a state forest where you have to truck 3-4 miles out to get to where you want to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the Adirondacks, I think, is the same way. And obviously, I haven't hunted everywhere in Maine. I've only hunted up in the Patton area, which is way up, and I was just a little kid.
Yep.
And then I've hunted around Moosehead. But, I'm thinking maybe south of Moosehead, there's some big woods, like maybe like we're kind of used to. But everywhere I've been, it's just literally logging roads everywhere.
I guess
it's hard to get away from logging roads.
I agree. It's almost if you're going from hunting here, these big state forests, and you go out there and there's logging roads, it's kind of like you're always like, am I going to run into somebody else type of deal? Even though you're probably not, but All right, while we're on the story or on talking about big deer and stuff, you got a 200 pounder in Vermont, right?
Yeah, 205.
205? Wow.
Yep, 205.
Out of all the three main northeast states between Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, Vermont's probably got to be the hardest state to kill a 200 pounder in out of those. And you got that one done.
Yep, and the county that I hunt in Vermont is kind of a tough county for 200 pounders. I think we usually get like 1 or 2 a year out of our county.
Yep. Was there any down that way this year that were over 2?
I don't think so. Maybe 1 or 2, but usually you find out when the numbers come out or whatever. But
it's either just starting to roll them out now with some rack scores and stuff. Well, what was the story on the 205?
So I was actually hunting a really big 8-pointer, like a 150-inch.
Oh wow!
8-pointer, like he was just a giant. I actually had pictures of him for 3 years, and I just couldn't really ever figure him out. He didn't lay any sign down. He was in a really big chunk of woods. I've kind of noticed that a lot in Vermont. You'll find a big deer on camera, and they just don't put sign down.
Ghostly.
Yeah, and I don't think they have to put sign down because the competition is so little to none. Like they just don't feel the need to. I don't think so.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so I was hunting that big 8-pointer, and it was the second day of rifle season in 2017. I had tried the opposite side of the mountain that morning, and there was some snow, probably like an inch or 2, and I cut a bunch of tracks, nothing big, made a big swing, did like 4 or 5 miles. I came out for lunch and met up with my buddy, and he actually rode up with me back up in that same day to the same spot, just the other side of the mountain.
Yep.
And we tried that, and that's when I checked a camera that I had up in there, the camera that I was getting, all these big deer on.
Yep.
Saw that I had a bunch of big deer on it. I had like a 130-inch 9-pointer, a pretty like good 8-pointer, like 100-inch 8-pointer, and then I had that 150 back on it, and I was like, holy smokes. So I headed way back out into this mountain, and there's a swamp that I had never checked before, so I was heading way out into that swamp. And long story kind of short, I was going down a logging road, and I caught a pretty good buck track, but on that side of the mountain, that was actually the southern side of the mountain, so the snow had mostly melted off during the day, and it was probably like 1 o'clock, and I caught a pretty good track in the logging road crossing it, but there wasn't really enough snow to track, and I was like, oh, okay, big track, I'll come back out in here tomorrow, because we were supposed to get more snow that night. And I was just working my way down that logging road, and there was a bunch of scrapes on it, and they were all pretty fresh. And I was thinking, okay, this is good, and all of a sudden I hear something down below me, and I stop, and I see a doe poke out at like 100 yards, and then right behind her was a big buck. And I was like, holy smokes, so I had like a quick shot I could have taken, but they were kind of quartering up to me, and they disappeared into the beach whips, and I lost them for a long time, and then they popped out at like 40 yards, and I smoked him. I double lunged him, and then he actually headed right at me, and I shot him again in the neck, but it was
You never had that one. That wasn't one you had on camera.
Never had that one on camera. He was an 11-pointer. He had a 6-inch drop tine, and he had a nice double main beam. I've heard people had him on camera, but I've never seen a picture, and I feel like I would have seen a picture if somebody had him on camera. So, I mean, there's a possibility that buck lived 6.5 years without anybody really knowing about him.
That's what he aged out at, 6.5.
6.5, yeah. And I had a bunch of cameras around there, and I never ever had his picture.
So you were in that area a lot. You knew you were at cameras all over the place, and never. Like you just.
Yeah, I mean, like relatively close to it.
Yeah.
Not in that swamp particularly, but
same block of woods though, essentially.
Same block of woods. Like it just goes to show you sometimes.
You don't know everything that's going on.
You don't know everything that's going on, and I mean, who knows? Maybe he came from a long way.
Yeah.
But it's a big chunk of woods that I hunt, and it's gonna be a hard one to beat in the county that I'm at.
Yeah, that's what he score out at.
130 and 7/8.
130 7/8, 205 pounds. Yeah, that's a that's a hammer from Vermont. Holy shit.
Yep, that was the one that really got me hooked. I had shot a couple good bucks before that, like 100-inchers.
Yep.
But nothing like that.
Nothing of that magnum caliber.
That when I shot that one, but I'd been after that 150. And funny story about him is he ended up just dropping off the face of the earth. Like
nobody got him?
Nobody ever got him.
Think he just died of old age?
I think he just died. Coyotes probably got him. I don't know. That was actually so after that year, 2018, I saw a video that a logger had taken off of a skidder in that area, and it was definitely him. Never got a game camera picture of him that year, and I never had since. So, but he made it through the off season of 2017. He made it through that deer season, and then all through the summer. And then I saw the video of him. Like it was him. I know he was the only buck I've ever seen anywhere around here with that frame. He was literally like 26 inches wide, and he had like 10, 11-inch G2s and like 9-inch G3s. Just a freak. Like he probably had like 30-inch main beams.
And that's 150-inch just mainframe 8-pointer, no bonus.
But the funny thing is he was literally a 6-pointer because his brow tines were like this big. They were like an inch and a half.
And he had 150 inches just the upper head.
It's like a big 6, like just a giant. Like I mean, and maybe
that one.
Yeah, I think I have.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
first time I was down there. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, you have. That was yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking a different one.
I printed them
Yeah,
out
yeah. You
just
showed me that
because
one.
I knew I don't think I'm gonna be chasing many like him.
Any other similar genetics in there since? Any sons coming through or that you noticed, or nothing crazy like that?
No, he was totally like a freak.
Jeez.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, there's been another guy that I know who got one in there a few years prior to that, and it was like I think it scored 139 as an 8-pointer.
Really? So
Yeah, and that was
crazy.
a good buck, but smaller frame than the one I had pictures of.
Yeah. And you said
The
that
one I
big.
had,
What's that?
the one I had pictures of was just he was
Just a
a
freak.
just a stupid, yeah, monster. Like
Yeah.
who knows how old he was? He was, probably ancient.
How many years of pictures do you have of him?
I had 3 years.
3 years. And
Picture,
he was
yeah.
he about that same caliber every year? Did he kind of get bigger, or was it
Oh no, he got bigger.
he got
He got
bigger?
bigger every year until the Velvet picture or the Velvet. It was actually a video. The Velvet video I saw him off of a log skidder. He actually looked like he had went downhill a little bit.
Hit that peak.
And then I never got a picture of him that fall. So
Something happened.
either something happened between July and deer season,
Hmm.
or somebody poached him. I don't know, which
That'd
is
be too bad.
very highly unlikely.
Yeah, and that big
Um,
woods piece.
in that big woods piece, yeah, like not a lot of people are hunting it. There's
Makes
not a
you
lot of deer.
yeah. Makes you wonder. You always hear sometimes that like some bucks will get infections in their racks when they're in the velvet. That'll it's kill them off that way. It happens. You never know. Nature's
Possibly, yeah.
wild. Huh. What was the few pictures and stuff you had of him? Was he just hitting scrapes, or was he kind of in an area, a ridge, a pinch point?
No, it was just this one geological pinch.
Hmm.
And I had cameras all over the place, but I always got them on that pinch right around November 4th every year.
Really? Just
And I
dialed.
only got one picture of him a year. Like one year it was November 4th. Next year it was like November 5th. And then I want to say the last year was November 4th again.
So he was that. That's crazy.
It's crazy, but I've seen it a lot. And you
Hmm.
hear Steve Shirk talk about it and all these guys that run, hundreds of cameras and like guys that are doing it full time,
Yep.
that they'll say that like a lot of bucks are like, you know,
Cool.
they do that every year, kind of same time.
Then that area that you got your 205, didn't you say it was your cousin that got or your friend that got another 200 pounder the year after, right?
Yeah, so my buddy RJ, yeah, we were actually in the same area the following year, and it was a heck of a morning. It was crunchy snow, like just awful conditions for tracking. But I was tracking this buck, and he was just zigzagging in this old cut with a doe. And when I mean old cut, I mean like 30 years old. Like there was pretty good trees in it.
Grown up.
You
Yep.
can you can see more than 30 yards or 40 yards. But it was growing up pretty good. And he was doing circles in it, probably like 200 acres of various cuts.
Yep.
And I got to this one spot where he had brought me through like 6 times that morning. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to stand here because I'm right behind them. They keep going through this one little open spot. I'm just going to wait.
Hmm.
And I stood there for a minute and I was like, oh, that tree right over there looks like I could see better. So I took like 10 steps and I hear them go. And they were just literally right over the bank from me. And I had been grunting all morning because I was crashing around grunting. So if I would have just stayed where I initially said,
Hmm.
I probably would have killed the deer. But so I jumped the buck and the doe, and they ran up the mountain and unbelievably ran by my buddy who was up there on a different buck track. And
Really?
yeah,
Kicked
like
it
a
right over to
mile
him?
away. What's that?
Kicked it right over to him?
Yeah, I mean we're like a mile apart. Like it's not like we were close. Like
Just
I jumped him, and like after I jumped him, it was like 5 minutes later. I hear boom, 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 and I was
no
like,
shit.
that was RJ because I knew, there was nobody else up there. It was
Yeah.
me, RJ, and Gilly that morning. And Gilly went the other way, so I was like, that's RJ. So I get on the radio and I'm like, RJ, did you just shoot a big buck with a doe? And he's like, yeah, he come running up through here like crazy. I'm like, no way, you know?
Just
And
meant to be.
they meant to be. And I knew it was a hammer just from the track. And I saw his rack when he went. I just couldn't get a crack at him. And
What do you have for
yeah,
horns on?
he was a 4x2. He had 4 on one side. He's a beautiful buck.
Yeah.
Actually, I can show you. I got a picture right here.
Okay.
He's a 4x2, but he weighed out at 200 pounds right on the nose.
Really?
Yep.
Something special up there then for Vermont if you're pulling a couple 200 pounders in a couple years.
Age.
Like that. Yeah, just getting the chance to grow up. Yeah.
Age, and I mean, I think it's, this area in particular, I feel like if you get into the bigger mountains, you can find big deer. But the genetics, it's funny because they're spotty. Like some big mountains, it's like a big one's 160.
Mm-hmm.
Another big mountain, you'll hear about a 200-pounder, and then you'll also hear about the guy's grandfather had killed a 200-pounder up there, and his grandfather killed it. You know what I'm saying? So It's like you have to try to distinguish where the big ones are coming from because genetics is a real thing.
It is. It's true. Like a lot of the areas that I hunt up this way, up in the Mansfield, Camel's Hump region, like you said, 160 to 180 pound buck is a great one. That seems to be like what people shoot up here as far as big mountain bucks go. But yeah, it is genetics for sure. Then you look up in the Northeast Kingdom, like it seems like up that way is your better chance to kill a 200 pounder. Just those old Northwood genetics kind of like go across there, and New Hampshire and Maine up that way. But
yep,
they killed a few 200 pounders up there this year. It seemed like.
Yeah, they did. It seems like Essex County is always the county to produce.
Mm-hmm.
All the big ones, and it makes sense. They're farther north and
less people
flatter ground. I think all of that stuff contributes to heavier deer.
Makes sense for sure. All right, kind of diving back in. I just thought of this. We were just talking about gear before, but we left out one of the most important parts, or part that people like to hear about: the guns, obviously. Like me, I run 2 guns, so I have a gun that if it's nasty out, there's snow flying, or if I'm tracking, or I got a peep gun like a lot of guys do that track up this way. 06 7600 carbine, and on bare ground, I've got a Remington Model 4. It's an automatic that's got a 3 to 9 scope on it, I think it is, which I think I'm going to swap that scope out this year. But what are you running? Do you have 2 guns? Are you running multiple guns on bare ground versus snow and stuff like that?
Yeah, I have 2 guns. I have a 30-06 and a 7600 carbine with a 1.5 to 4 power Leupold scope. Mm-hmm. And I have a 35 Whalen and 7600 carbine and peep sight.
So your Whalen's your peep gun, huh?
Yep.
Isn't one of them synthetic?
Yeah, so that's my 30-06. I've killed a lot of bucks with that gun.
There's times and places for both, no doubt about it. Like there's been times when I'm tracking with my peep gun, and I'm like, if I had my scope, I would have been able to pick out that buck at 150 yards that he had a rack on his head, and then by the time I figured it out with my binoculars out, that deer was gone. There's times and places for him, but there's also times when you're lugging a scope gun and it's a nightmare with the moisture and the shit on your stuff. But have you ever used one of those AccuPoint scopes?
No.
You never have? My dad has one on his 7600 carbine. Well, my mom uses it now, but he bought it, and I shot my best scoring buck with that AccuPoint. And
really?
It's slick. It's similar to the peep. I think his is a 2 to 6, I believe it is. But it's just that it's a post on the bottom, and it's got that lit up red little triangle at the top, and it's slick. I think that's what I'm gonna replace this. I like an old scope on this, the old 3 to 9 on my automatic, and I think I'm gonna replace it this year with a 1 to 4 or a 1 to 6 AccuPoint because it's very similar to the peep sight. It's quick, but you have that magnification when you need it. But
right.
I have to show you sometime. That's a slick little scope for sure.
Yeah, I grew up using just a 3x9. Always.
Yep.
That's what I've killed most of the bucks I've shot with, and
yep.
I'd just leave it on 3 power, and that's what I used.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't matter if it was raining sideways or snowing a blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got more and more into tracking, that's what really keyed me in on the Peep site was I noticed all these like really great trackers using it. And I'm like, okay, why are all these great legendary trackers using a peep gun? There has to be something to it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not just because they think it's cool,
Yeah.
obviously there's something. And so I tried it and I didn't really like it that much because, I was so used to the scope. But then once I started killing deer with it, that was the difference maker. I really, truly grasped the advantages, and they outweighed the disadvantages for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the advantages are the site acquisition is just so snappy. Like I can pull up on a running buck and be beat on his front shoulder like snap of a finger, whereas with a scope, you have fractions of a second where you have to. And you can get good at having the scope. You can find a target quick in it, but it's not as fast as that peep sight.
No, I agree with you on that.
There's no transition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's there. Your eyes in line with it, and you're looking at that deer. You're there. It's no doubt about it with that. The speed of the shot, like the one I got this year, I never would have got a crack at right off the bat with a scope gun.
No, and actually the reason why I fully switched was in 2019. I don't know if we already hit on this or not. I know I've told somebody this recently, but I might have hit on this on the first podcast we did. But there's a big buck in Maine, and I'm holding up on him. I'm holding on him, and I can see him when I pull my head away from the gun. But when I put my head up to the scope, I couldn't find him. And then I'd pull away.
And lined up?
No, it's like it was just so thick and like it was so much going on and he was going through. Like every time I'd pull my gun up, I couldn't find him, so I'd pull my gun down and I'd see him, like pieces of him.
Yeah.
So if I just had the peep gun, I would have been able to just pull up and just. And it was a big buck going through the brush. I could have sent a few through at the pieces I was seeing. I could have probably would have hit him, But
you were tracking that buck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say, like, would you use your scope gun and your peep gun, like, 50-50, or you kind of, what would you say you carry more, typically?
Well, this last season, I didn't get a really nice buck. That was the haircut buck on my YouTube page when I was using the peep sight. So for the rest of the year, I used my scope gun during rifle season.
Yep.
And I was just mad at my 35 whaling. That's all it was.
Yeah.
I was mad at it.
That buck wasn't too far away, was he?
35 yards.
Just a weird angle. I remember you talked about that in the first podcast, or the second one.
And I mean, I don't know. I'm weird, like superstitious, I guess, sometimes. And when I didn't get that one with the 35 whaling, I was like, man, I'm just going to get my old faithful gun out. Because most of my bucks I have shot with that synthetic 30-06.
Yep. You killed that good one a few years ago, right? That big 6-pointer you got there?
Yep.
That was with a 35.
That was with
that was with the 06, you said?
No, that was with my peep gun.
I gotcha. That's pretty cool. Huh. Yeah, I'd say probably, I don't know. I mean, with the way the winters have been going the last 2 years, it seems like I'm carrying I lugged my scope gun around a lot more this year through Maine and then the first part of the Vermont season. Carried that around a lot. And then I actually got my buck this year with the peep gun because it was, snow was flying out of the trees and stuff. It just barely stopped snowing. But yeah.
It's a confidence thing, for
sure.
It is.
Yeah, it kind of ties back to where you said you got into it. It's like you didn't really fully buy into it until, you had that confidence. It's such a confident thing. Like when I got mine my first year, I was like, I kept pondering back and forth. I'm like, am I going to put a scope on this thing or not? Because it was like you. I seen all these great trackers with a peep gun, and I wanted to dabble with it. I wanted to see what it was about. But now that I've shot a lot of rounds through it, and the situations are different for each gun, but they got their time and place for both of them. But
yes, exactly.
It's fun to shoot. A lot of fun to shoot.
Yeah, they are a lot of fun to shoot. Too bad it's like $1 a round.
I know.
More than $1 a round nowadays.
I
just bought a. What's that?
I said, did you find any ammo this year before the season? I went off all my last year's ammo because I could not find a box of 180 grain core locked anywhere. I mean, I run core locked, I don't know, what you run, but
Yep, that's why I run 180 grain round nose. Old school stuff, and in my 30-06 anyway. And I think I had 3 or 4 boxes of it left over from just previous year. I'm at the point now where when I find it, I'm buying it.
You got to, because
you have to, because there's guys that just it's annoying kind of, because it's like you guys don't have to buy like 100 boxes of stuff. Like
it was non-existent this year. You couldn't find it anywhere.
It's like it's literally like the toilet paper thing in the coronavirus.
Yeah.
That is what ammo is. Well, at least 180 grain round nose. That's what it is.
That's a good point. That is a good
People are so terrified that they're not going to be able to find it or something. I don't know what it is, but
it's been hard to find. Like this year, I had to borrow a box from my boss of 180 grain. He was lucky. He helped me out with that because I could not find. I had some 165s and some 150s, but yeah, he hooked me up like a half a box of 180s, which is what I ended up using. But carried some 165s just for extra. I actually think I had my scope gun sighted in with 165s, and I had my peep gun with 180s, just because I didn't have enough ammo. I felt between the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Hopefully this year that comes back, because you could not find that anywhere. I had a rude awakening. It was like a month before the season. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the gun shop, get all my ammo, this, that, and I get there and they're like, ha, they laugh in your face. You're like, nah, no, we're not gonna get any of that this year. So I was like, oh shit. But yeah, they both.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. The 35 Whelen is a really good round.
Is it? I never shot it.
It's a hot round. Like I want to say it's like a faster bullet than a 30-06 even.
It is faster. I was going to ask you that. It's a faster round. Zips.
Yeah, 35 Whelen is. Like it's a bigger projectile, obviously, and it's faster too. So it's a lot of hitting power.
Yeah. You have better luck through brush and stuff from your experience, or haven't used it in that sense yet?
I haven't used it that much yet.
Yeah.
I've just kind of recently went to it because this will be a story for another podcast, but I went tracking with my buddy Nate in Vermont, and he shot a really nice buck with me at like 10 yards, and he hit it in the shoulder, and the deer folded like
right there in front of you.
Right there in front of us, like nothing I've ever seen before. Like with an 06, it would have busted his shoulder, and he would have ran a ways, and maybe he would have had to shoot it a couple more times. But with the 35 Whelen, it literally took out both shoulders, like one shot, like just like
wow,
gone, like
flattened him right there,
flattened him right there, and I'm so used to the 06 and what that does to deer, and then when I saw what the 35 Whelen did, I was like, holy, because I always kind of had the notion of 35 Whelen being like kind of like a pumpkin lobber gun, like kind of like a like a big slow moving bullet. Yep. That's just not the case.
Yep. It seems it's getting more prevalent nowadays than it ever. Like I honestly hadn't even heard of it until like 5-6 years ago. Like nobody was talking about it, and then like I think Remington did like a big run with the 35 Whelens. It was like the last 7600s that you could really get.
Yeah.
And that's when everybody started saying how good it was.
That's when I bought mine.
That last run?
Yeah. I'm lucky. I got it up at it's called the Gun Shop up in, is it New Haven, Vermont? Is that right?
I don't know.
It's up by Burke.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah. It's a good shop. He's always got pumps in there.
I miss the days when you could go into a gun shop and you could see a 7600 sitting on the shelf. Like when I bought mine I think I bought mine in 2016, the peep gun I have now. There was like 3 or 4 just sitting on the shelf, and they were like $600, $650 or something. And it's like, oh man, I should have bought all of those back when you could have. Because now you look on Gun Trader, they're going for like $2,000 or $2,000 or more for the people that are selling them on Gun Trader. It's nuts.
They are getting so much money.
It's crazy.
Those damn pumps right now, and I'm pretty sure it's because the plant burnt down.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, that's what happened. And I think they're eventually gonna bring them back, but. God, they're such good.
It's going to be cool because I feel like they're going to be new, right? It's going to be a different model.
Mm-hmm.
So
new owners and everything.
Yeah. So like, I was wondering, is it going to be a 76,000? Because they went 7,600, or they went 760, 7,600.
Yep.
So they're going to go 76.
That's a
1,000.
good. That'd be funny.
It
Yeah,
would be kind of funny.
that'd be
Just keep
interesting.
adding a zero.
Be curious to see what they do. But I look forward to them coming back. I'll probably buy another one when we can one day, or if I ever run into a chance. Because I mean, I like my automatic, but it is heavy compared to the 7600. It's a Model 4, so it's not the 742 or whatever it is, the one that jams all the time. I've never had a jam with my Model 4, but my dad had a 742, and that thing was like jamming all the time. He didn't run it for too long. But
No kidding.
it's a good gun, just heavy. Shot at some deer with it. But yeah.
Yeah, I always had pumps. One of the first guns I used when I was little was a 30-30 lever action.
Oh, you're 30-30, huh? Yeah, I never.
Yep, I
Never.
shot a bunch of deer with a 30-30 when I was little guy.
Yeah, I think I killed my first 8 or 10 deer with a 243 single shot. My dad bought me
Yep.
when I started. I think I was 9 when I started hunting. He bought me a little 243 break open with like
That
with a
was
straight 4-power scope, and that's what I smacked him with for like for a while. Not a lot of
that's what
deer.
I had too. It
It's a
was a
good
New
gun.
England Arms.
Exactly, same one, black, little break open,
Yep.
exact same gun. It's a great
That's what
gun.
I had. It is a great gun.
I think I've dropped more deer with that gun than I have with my '06, which is kind of funny if you think back on it.
They
Like
crank them pretty
does
good.
and everything, spike horns, all that stuff back in the day. But I still got it.
Youth hunting. Youth hunting was fun.
It was, man. It
That
was.
was-
I think we got one just about every year back then.
yeah.
It was a blast. You remember being young and waiting in anticipation for those days. You wouldn't sleep for like 2 days before, just so excited to go shoot your deer. What was your first
Yep.
deer?
My first year was a doe.
Was it doe? My first one was this. I actually have it mounted out to show you sometime. It's this spike horn with broad tines, but I was so fired up when I got that deer. It was funny. Dropped him in his tracks at like 20 yards, and I thought that was the coolest thing, and then never looked back from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I'd killed a bunch of doe, and then I think I don't know, like 10 or 11, something like that. And I was youth hunting with my dad. I remember telling my dad that morning, I was like, Dad, I don't want to shoot a doe this morning. He's like, what do you mean? Like, you always get one the first morning. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to wait for a buck. And he's like, okay.
Yep.
And like right off, big doe. We're like walking up log road. Big doe pops out. And he was kind of like looking at me, and I'm pulling up on it, and I'm holding it on it. And I'm like, nope, put the gun down. It jumped off and ended up passing like 14 doe. I had like this incredible
Wow.
morning, and then ended up catching a spike horn bedded on like the edge of the mountain
Hmm.
and just blistered this thing. Like, it's such a funny story. I shot it like I hit it, and I like kind of hit it back a ways, and it got up, and I shot again, and like I hit it a couple more times, but then he was like standing on the edge of a bank.
Hmm.
And I was like kind of like excited at this point. So I kept missing, and my dad just kept handing me shells. And like we were getting down towards the end of the box of shells because I'm just shooting at this thing is standing there. And
Yeah.
I finally got it. But
That's awesome.
yeah, that
You,
was my first buck.
that's yeah. It seems like everybody's first buck is always that spike horn class. It seems like everybody that I know growing up,
Yep.
man, you think back on those times, it was so much fun, no doubt.
Yep. And it was like back in on the mountain quite a ways too. Like it
Really?
was like an epic spike horn. Yeah. It's
Sure.
like he was way up in there, like all by himself, caught him bedded. It was
You
awesome.
taking any youth hunters out since you've been done, or haven't really done much with that?
I haven't
Not
done
yet.
much of that.
You
Nope.
don't have a lot of young people as far as that goes in your family, do you?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
I've taken
I
a
don't.
little cousin out a few times. He's got what do you get? He got a big doe last year, and he got what do you get? A spike horn this year, 4-pointer this year, a little 4-pointer, and
That's
he's
awesome.
hooked now. It's too funny using
That's
my old 243. So
that's
it's kinda
great though.
special. Yeah, he's
That's
hooked.
that's what we need more of.
Hmm.
Is
He swears that one day when he gets a little bigger, because he's only was he 12 now? He gets a little bigger. He's gonna go up in the mountains. I mean, we'll try and track one for him with him if we ever get the
That's
opportunity
awesome.
to. But yeah,
Good for you for getting them into it.
it's fun. Yeah, I wasn't sure about it at first, but it's been fun. I do the same with turkey hunting. He got a 19-pound tom last year, and they get a 23.5-pound tom this year. Absolute hammer tom in this
That's
past
huge.
season, but he's hooked for sure. But it's been fun.
That's awesome. So during deer season, I think something that's commonly overlooked is just living right. You know, like when you got a certain amount of time to deer hunt, you want to make sure you're firing on all cylinders, you know, getting good sleep, not drinking too much alcohol, drinking a lot of water, you know, like just things, you know, not eating shitty food. Like those things will help you, you know, be successful if you just, you know, you're getting good sleep and like everything. Like I feel like especially with younger guys, it's hard to, you know,
It is, because
get
deer season's the release of the year. You've been working all year, and you get to let loose
exactly.
with the boys or something. You know, if you're hunting in a group.
Exactly. And that if you want to be successful and you're serious about it, you have to have that discipline to be in bed by 9 p.m. and, you know, drinking a lot of water leading up to that weekend you got to go give it all you got. And, you know, cuz you want to be feeling good.
No
You know,
doubt.
if you're not feeling good, you're not going to hunt good, and that's the truth.
You kind of treat it
So,
like an athlete does with a sport. You know, like any sport. You're not seeing a professional baseball player going out and trying to have the best game of his life after slugging 14 Bud Lights with the boys and crushing a whole box of Little Debbie's. You know.
that's it. You hit it right on the head.
I'm
I
usually
mean,
smoked by the end of the day. If I go tracking, I'm smoked. I'm like trying to get in bed before 9 o'clock.
yeah, no, me too. But like I'm saying, for like the lead up before it, you know, like you know, you get out of work and you go. I know a lot of guys go to camp and like it's like this easy thing to fall into, where
Yep.
like you know guys are drinking and you're having a good time, and then before you know it, you're pie-eyed and waking up at 9 a.m. and you don't have any energy, you know. So it's like things like that where you gotta. I think it's easily overlooked. You gotta be feeling good to hunt good.
You got to take care of yourself, no doubt about it.
Gotta take care of yourself because you're doing big things with your body. You know, like you're doing. You know, if you're tracking and you're whatever looking for a buck track, you're doing 10, 12 miles a day,
Huffing it.
hoofing it multiple days in a row. A lot of mountains, a lot of stuff like that. So you gotta be living right.
Hydrated's a big thing too, like you said. Like what I do in the morning, well, I drink a lot of water as is, but so I don't carry a water bottle with me in the woods. I just don't like the noise and I don't like the extra weight and stuff. So when I get out of the truck in the morning, I'll sit there and slam like half gallon of water just
Yeah,
before I
yeah,
go
I
jet up
do.
in the woods, and
Yeah,
you're pissing every 5 minutes. But you never
I do
thirst
the same
all day,
thing.
and you don't have to carry a bottle. It's
Yep.
just way better that way, I feel. But to each their own, I guess, with that.
Yep, exactly. But seriously, staying hydrated. Like I've never had a cramp in the woods
Me either.
because I just make sure I'm putting the water to me, and I'm, you know, I'm just that's like it's a part of it, and I feel like people don't talk about it a lot, but it is a part of it. If you want to be a good tracker, you have to be disciplined in the fact of basically like you said earlier. You were saying it's like an athlete. It's the same thing. You know, you got to,
If you're serious about it.
if you're serious about it and you want to be successful at it, you have to make sure you are hydrated, you've gotten your rest, you know, it's all this stuff. But
You do anything like before the season to get conditioned for it? You like hiking or running or doing all that stuff, or not
I'm
really?
always staying in the woods.
Yeah, yeah. I guess
My
you're
leg,
scouting and stuff before the season, so you're getting primed
all
up.
even like all year round, summer, spring, winter, deer season. Because like usually, if you keep your legs in shape and you keep your cardio in check, you know, there's no break-in period. You know, I'll hunt with some guys and there's like a break-in period. You'll see it when you go out hunting. You know, there'll be the first couple days they're like, whoa, you
Yep,
know, and then they kind of come into it as they go. Well, if you just stay in shape, there is no break-in period. You're there.
it's true. Yeah, no, I took a
You know,
buddy. So after I tagged out in Vermont during rifle, I had a buddy that still had a tag, and he wanted to do. He's more of a bow hunter, you know, smaller woods and stuff. A good hunter, but he wanted to go see what the big woods and stuff are all about. So I said, all right, we'll go muzzleload hunt. We'll try to get on track and stuff. And we get up in the woods, and I don't know, about 30 minutes in, he was he was dragging pretty hard. It's just a different type of, yeah. He wasn't prepared fully for that. But I know he's been in the gym and doing some hikes and stuff since then, trying to get ready for the season because he does want to learn how to do that stuff. But yeah, it's
that's That's
It's
good.
different.
I mean, that's what it takes.
Mhm.
Do you do the same thing? Do you kind of just try to stay in shape all year?
Yeah, I stay in the woods and then I just try to exercise and stuff. But yeah, if you keep your legs up, keep them conditioned and stuff like that, it's a lot easier transition. Because if you're
Yeah,
not, you're gonna be your first few days of the season, you're gonna be dragging, you're gonna be tired. It's tough. So I'd rather stay on it.
exactly. Me too. And like honestly, one of the reasons why I love deer hunting is because I know it's so good for me
Hmm.
physically. Because
Mentally too.
I always grew up playing a lot of sports, and after high school, hunting was kind of my place where
Hmm.
I could get that, exercise and,
Yeah, no, I'm same as you. That hunting kind of after the sports ended, that's when
yeah,
it really got serious and like got into it. Because like you take your competitive drive that
yep,
you have in sports and stuff, and kind of when you're tracking a deer, you almost have that competitive drive because you're so in it the whole time when you're trying to you
exactly.
versus the deer, like we talked about in the last episode.
It's
But
a good outlet. That's a
it
good way
is,
to put it.
that
It's
is
an
a good way to
outlet.
put it.
Like I loved football. It was my outlet. I
Hmm.
poured everything I had into it. But when football ended, I kind of like it was weird for me. I didn't have that place where I could. But tracking was my place where I could go out there and just give it everything I had.
Hmm.
Lay it all out there. And
Yep.
that's why I love it so much. I
Is
don't.
that
I,
when you? That's when you
yeah.
transitioned after sports, is right into that, and that's when you get
Yeah,
real,
yeah,
real
because I
serious
was
with it.
pretty serious with sports. Like I would always be in the weight room in the off season and
Hmm.
stuff like that, like running and I wrestled as well, and I
Okay.
loved wrestling. But after high school, it didn't take me long to figure out that hunting was going to be my place
Yeah.
to have something to focus on, put my energy towards an outlet.
Hmm. And now that's your whole world right there.
Yeah, for exercise and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, that's yeah.
I think that's a good note to leave it on right there. If you're going to chase bucks around for a month and a half up in the mountains, you got to take care of yourself and you got to try and be in the best shape you can. So we'll leave it off there. But thank you for tuning into this episode of Stagger Cast. I know we didn't have a guest this week, but we have some great guests coming here in the next couple weeks. So be tuning in for that, and we'll keep after it. Don't stop thinking about deer hunting, and we'll see you on the next one.